welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games, hosted by three very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tommy Dasilo. We're here chopping it up. With me, as always, we got Ben Vanel.
Hey, Tommy, it's great to be here. I've got a bottle of water in front of me and a couple of friends by my sides.
I'm going to move this back from the edge because I don't like how precarious that placement is.
That was my
stressing me
emotions.
out.
That was my emotional state.
Just before you looked at your watch,
Yes.
and then you got a very kind of crinkled look on your face.
Crinkled.
Yeah, you kind of like it was like you were doing a De Niro impression at your watch. What was going on there? What did you see? What was it about the current time?
Siri, are you talking to me? Is what I was doing. No, I got a message. I got a message on Hinge. I was trying to read it, and I was like, "What does that mean?"
Interesting.
Please leave me alone.
Your account has been shut down because you were too horny, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a reason. My name's Adam Knox.
Yeah, also joining us is Adam.
That's me. Not on Hinge, not on Bumble, but I like to fumble. What's wrong with a rhyming joke?
Well, you've listed two. You should probably go through all of them and state
Tinder
that you're not on them
Grindr.
either. OkCupid.
OkCupid.
Tinder Grinder, I don't mind her.
Cloud.
Is a rhyme.
Sky, Cloud, something.
Skyward Sword?
Blue, something.
Oh, man.
Ashley Madison.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get on that. Maybe I'd have better results on Ashley Madison. That's like, is that
You had to.
you have to be rich?
You're
You're trying to cheat?
Try-
You're
have
a
an
married
affair,
man.
yes.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
And
Or a woman trying to hook up with a married man? Or a
Good,
married
yeah.
woman, I don't know.
yeah, maybe it was both.
Yeah.
But I think it was specifically for dalliances. Is that the word? I think a dalliance is like a.
It's not necessarily...
It doesn't have to be cheating.
yeah.
But is it like it's like an accidental sideways move, right? I shouldn't have used a
What?
word I don't know.
What do you mean?
No. A dalliance is maybe like a brief, inconsequential thing.
Right. Okay.
I think.
I'm going to look it up. Just for a little dalliance. Mm-hmm. Dalian is a major city and seaport in the south of Liaoning province, China.
Okay, so it's that. So
Yeah.
it's like you fuck someone in that city, in that province.
Exactly.
Okay.
A
Just hitting
dalliance.
someone up on Hinge. Care for a little dalliance? Oh,
Okay,
man.
yeah.
Well, I don't know if I
I'm
can really
actually pro
afford...
Hong Kong, so...
It's a casual romantic or sexual relationship.
Right.
Okay.
Even though I didn't know it in the front of my brain, my subconscious had that word ready to go.
So no strings attached.
No,
That's
yeah.
that's the overwhelming vibe
Brief
of the
and
phrase
casual.
dalliance.
the first
Okay.
30 to 40 minutes of any film where two friends begin to fuck
Right.
before it gets complicated. Friends with benefits.
No strings attached.
No strings attached.
Yep.
It's complicated.
Well, it's not that complicated. It's pretty simple. I just laid it all out.
I like that though. I got to say, I think of all the terms for that specific kind of relationship with a person, I think dalliance is certainly the most classy.
You don't
Better
like
than,
fuck
like-
buddy?
You don't like fuck, buddy? There's a comma between the fuck and the buddy.
Oh, well, my answer to both of those questions is no.
Wow.
Loud and
Wow.
clear. A resounding no from me.
Dalliance would be a good name for a classy app for brief sexual encounters.
Right.
Yeah.
Dalliance, download now.
Okay. And then delete in like 3 weeks.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe 4 or 5 different times. And then the 5th one, you're like, well,
Maybe I should commit.
maybe all of these were bad.
Yes.
You know what I don't like is like I feel like all those dating apps at a certain point they start to introduce a new tab where you can search for just like friends. I think
Oh,
Bumble even
yeah,
now has like a business. It's like got
Yeah.
like part LinkedIn
It does.
kind of vibe,
Yeah.
which is just like I kind of get like, oh, well, you know, you want to broaden the horizons of the app and not just be focusing on people who are single. And maybe there's also an element where they're a bit like, they start to feel a bit gross that they're trading purely in these like, you know, hookups and people kind of getting fucked over or their hearts broken or whatever. But it's just like, don't try and
ever-
hedge your bets like that.
No one ever
Who's-
gets fucked over in business.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the least moral one of all.
But you getting a job and like being hired through a dating app is like, I don't know, it's pretty
Yeah.
fucking weird.
What's that one that was like specifically for people who thought they were 10 out of 10s?
Oh,
Do you remember there was
right.
that app where it was like you have to be the hottest, richest motherfucker to be on here?
Fire?
Yeah,
Is that?
maybe that's the Fire Festival?
Yeah,
which
no,
had
I
a
am
similar-
thinking of the Fire Festival.
Was it for hot people or was it for rich people?
It was for like all around tens.
Right,
It was
okay.
implied that they have to be hot.
Right.
But they were mainly just saying like it's for successful people.
Right.
I feel like they're two separate
Sure.
things, though. I feel like there's a really hot person one, and then I feel like there's also like a super rich one.
Isn't there a social network for people from private schools only?
Facebook.
But that
Yeah,
that was
probably.
one that came around at the same time, I think, as well.
Yeah.
I
There's
believe
always,
it's called
like-
the Facebook.
The only the private schoolboy app, you're only allowed to. It automatically posts "fuck women" every single day.
Yes. Yes.
That's all that happens on it. You just sign up and then it does it automatically for you. And
Yeah.
automatically likes everyone else's.
It also shows what AFL club you end up playing for.
yeah.
And to anyone who wants to, accuse us of being wildly off topic at the very outset of the podcast, we're talking tech, okay?
Yeah, this is an app.
These are apps. We're in the wheelhouse of what the podcast is meant to be about. So
Totally.
get off
Say-
our asses.
Dating is the most complicated and unwinnable game of all.
Sure. Except when you do win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even when you win it, you die at some point. So at the end, or like, well, even worse, they die before you. No,
Yeah.
that's better because then they don't have to watch you die. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. No, I feel like in this particular game that I'm playing, I've been hitting the side so much that I've gotten a big tilt up on the screen, just abusing myself. This is not within the rules. This is an unhealthy level that you're doing this.
I keep unlocking Uber Eats mode. I don't know how I'm doing it.
So what we didn't get to last week
Yes.
was that you boys went to PAX a couple of weekends ago. What feels like forever ago now.
yes.
To me and presumably our listeners when they hear this 24 hours after I'm saying it feels like a long time ago to me.
Luckily, pretty much all of the games we saw weren't out at the time.
Yep.
Like Call of Duty and... Was the Outer Worlds even there? I don't remember anything on it. Maybe I just ignored it because I knew it was out really soon.
Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't play anything.
Right.
But I watched a bunch of footage from Cyberpunk.
Yep.
And I watched some people play Final Fantasy VII, which isn't out. So they're the two things that aren't out.
Yeah. Final Fantasy VII being not out is one of the craziest sentences still. Like, I struggle with remakes. I don't know what's wrong with me.
What else did I see there?
It's nice that you went to really broaden your scope of things you're excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I walked around for ages. I
Yeah.
saw, what is it called? Unpacking? It's an indie game where it's about unpacking
Yeah.
your belongings into a new house.
Oh, did you post? You posted something about that? Maybe? Yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. I walked around a lot, like the indie
Being
area a lot.
very interested in that game, ironically, leaves there a lot to be unpacked about what that says about you.
Well, so our friend Tim Clark was also at PAX the day that I was.
Right.
And I messaged him and he was doing a show there. And I was like, oh, have you seen anything? Is there anything you want to see? Maybe we can meet up afterwards. And he was like, I mean, I really want to see that unpacking game.
Yeah.
It's definitely a personality type.
House Flipper is fucking awesome, and it's the same sort of itch
Yeah,
that
right.
it's scratching. I'm 100% going to...
Totally. Yeah. But that looked cool.
That has been the thing I've really enjoyed the couple of times I've gone, is walking around that indie area. You see two people posted up with this incredibly small little stand, this game that they've clearly just made themselves, and it's
Yeah.
such a labor of love. And yeah, that sort of stuff is really exciting to me. But everything else, as we've discussed previously on the show in past years when we've gone, the waiting in line for hours and hours and hours is just brutal.
Well, I got there was a little period of time where press only on the Friday morning.
Yeah.
Which is a bit I went to, which was a
Turned
lot
up-
nicer.
The
Right.
little hat with the little card. In
Yeah,
the
yeah,
brim.
yeah. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. And I stayed there
I want
for a bit.
pictures of the new Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
Yeah. The big flash bulb.
I stayed there for a bit.
Yeah.
As the show started a bit, a lot of people started flooding in. I went, eh. And then left right before Shannon Knoll showed up to
Oh,
announce
yeah.
that he's got was it League of Legends team that he's going to be,
Yeah.
or just a general, maybe, I can't remember. He's involved in esports in some way now.
I think it was League of Legends. Was that would have been on one of the big stages on the floor? Yeah.
It was one of the first things that happened. It was at 9:40 a.m. or so, or at
Yeah, right.
10:40 a.m. something.
We got emailed about this again today from those people. an email that's just gone out to like this wasn't like personalized.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, they are desperate for people to be talking about this
So if
Shannon
you're,
Knoll thing.
if you're not from Australia, Shannon Knoll he came second in the first series of Australian Idol. A lot of people thought he should have come first. There was a lot of controversy at the time. I think it was a really close
Yes.
thing. It was post-Bush, so people were already like, hail to the thief.
Yeah.
And
The Electoral College of Australian Idol is corrupt.
Yeah. So since then, he's punched people in strip clubs.
Yeah.
Had like
It's
3 or 4 good songs.
Well, yeah, the first one was like a cover of a classic Australian ballad.
Sure.
And then the rest were basically also covers. They were just rewritten and called something else.
What was that? What was his first big one?
What
was the
about
cover?
me?
Oh,
What about
right.
me?
Yep.
And then I got a big black shiny car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he do Working Class Man as
Or
well?
probably.
Yeah, I think
And
he did.
So he plays a lot of like RSLs and, casinos and stuff like that now.
Yes.
Anyway, he owns an esports team. So good on him. But yeah, saw the Marvel game.
Oh,
Yeah.
the event. Yes, the
Avengers game?
Yeah.
Not up my alley. It's it looks like a pretty average Batman style brawler thing. At least I was on the Thor part
Right.
of it.
Yeah.
I didn't spend much time there at all. So there are the other characters who will play slightly differently, but it seems as though all of it is kind of average third-person shootery, third-person brawlery stuff. I watched a bit more with the other characters. And numbers are flying off of the enemies, and you're getting given loot and stuff after you beat them
Yeah.
later in the game. It was just like the tutorial level they were showing off, so it wasn't really happening.
The big thing that's come out this week, I think, is that it's very like kind of Destiny-ish.
It's
kind
a
of based.
1,000,000% that.
Right.
Yeah, The Division, all of those kind of half single player, half multiplayer sort of always online games.
Which our friend Ben Russell was saying in some Facebook group that we're in with him.
I believe
That
ours.
in our one, right?
Yeah.
That he thinks that that's a mistake to have it be that formula, because the people that are really into those games, they've invested so much time into them that they're not like this idea that this game will be able to like grab those people over because they like that kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
people have invested so much into these things. They're not just going to flippantly like jump ship to a new one.
And I
but maybe
think-
if you love Marvel, maybe that's the thing that does it for
That's
you.
what I think,
But
yeah.
Possibly, but also I think people are a little burned out on that style
Totally.
of game.
Yeah, I
too.
agree.
So even if they are still into their one, for how much, like they're struggling to sustain their player bases,
Right.
let alone build this whole new one on what looks like a pretty average game too.
But I would think not just burnt out on the style of game, but potentially burnt out on the whole kind of idea of Marvel at this point too. Like we've had
maybe.
so many movies in the like. I think even
I think you'd be
I would-
surprised, Tommy.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I would think even the most diehard person is at this point starting to feel a bit fatigued.
At least when they
Certainly
are
to
going,
the point of not wanting to invest hours into a game.
when
if it
they
might
are
be
going back to the well like this too, because
Yeah.
it's those original Avengers.
Sure, that's the last phase.
Yeah, and they're kind of. It's like it's completely unrelated to the films. They're all looking a bit different and weird.
That could be the thing,
You
because
know?
and Ben Russell made the good point of like Anthem failed. Like this is a dying, or at least a tired format. But I really do think that there are a lot of people in the world, some of which are in our Facebook group, who are like, I will do anything that Marvel does,
Really, right.
and I will engage
Right.
with this, and I will probably give them a bit more money than I would if it wasn't a game as a service.
However, look how good Spider-Man did. And that game was great. I really wanted to see that be the start of like a PS4 fucking Marvel world, you know?
Yes,
Have that
yeah.
Spider-Man show up and shit. This is such a different thing. This is such a thing that like people say, and look, they'll release a new kind of obscure comic book character every month to be a new playable character in this, and it'll be
Sure.
fine. It'll chug along.
Yeah.
It'll get by on the name, more than likely, and maybe they do know that. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem very fun. It didn't seem terrible.
Yeah.
But it seemed
Yeah.
like just a real kind of time sink, no point kind
Right.
of game.
I've watched a bit of the footage of it where you are switching characters.
Yeah.
And that kind of looks fun. Like going from
yeah.
like Iron Man flying around and that play style to the Hulk coming in, and it could be good. I think you have to play it to know if it's good or not.
They have the opportunity, as much as I don't like the format, because it's a game as a service type thing as well, that maybe May this year, next year, or whatever it is that it's meant to come out, it's fine. Maybe May 2022, it's great.
Yeah,
sure.
right. Yeah.
But right now, it didn't look very interesting. Saw Modern Warfare there as well, which is out like tomorrow. So we'll talk about that next week.
A lot of people looking forward to that. A lot of
Yeah.
people I've been talking to just like at work and stuff, not intense gamers,
Yeah.
are like, this is the game that I remember loving and it looks better than I remember.
This is the best looking one they've done in a very long time. I like Black Ops 4, the one from last year, but it was pretty different, and now is a very different thing. Like they've leaned more and more into it being like a Fortnite style copy kind of thing, which isn't, to my tastes. But this looks like, exactly what someone like me who's a dickhead for Call of Duty stuff would
Or
want.
someone who played Modern Warfare and hasn't really kept up with games.
Yeah.
Like they are apparently going in on this.
Well, because Modern Warfare 2, which was like the peak of the fervor, was 10 years ago.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
So it's
right.
been long enough for a like kind of nostalgic reboot.
Yes.
To be what, and that's exactly what they're doing, but they're modernizing it
Oh my god.
Boy.
to the point
Oh
where
my God.
What did I say?
No, you
What did I
said
say?
Tell you
Your
what you
demeanor.
said. You said the best shit I've ever heard in my life.
You should have been holding your arms up in victory as you said it.
But yeah, you're right. Like 10
Looks good.
years, it's like probably these people that they haven't maybe kept up, but they got fond memories of cracking into a bit of this in a share house in their early 20s.
I'll be playing a bunch of that before the next episode, so
Yeah,
check
great.
back here.
Yeah. There's,
and
I think, a bunch of games coming out before the next episode. So.
Outer Worlds and then like that medieval remastered thing. Who gives a shit? But
Yeah.
Outer Worlds and Modern Warfare will be the big two.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
reckon. You'll be going in on Outer Worlds, I
Yes.
imagine.
Yeah. I think it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Anything else you saw?
What was that Cyberpunk trailer? Was it one that already existed? I didn't bother sitting down to watch it because it was just like a little.
It's just a screen that you
cinema
could sit and
setup,
watch.
yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
I guess you don't have to line up.
It might be the start of the most recent gameplay trailer, but it was more. I don't think it was as much like the narrator going like, and this is the aspect of the game where you can do this. It was more just the cinematics and the intros and stuff like that. It still looked cool.
Yeah.
What else did I see? I watched a bunch of esports, a
Right.
bunch of live esports.
Neo
Very
2
strange.
was there.
Oh,
the
yes.
Samurai game that
Oh, yeah.
I always wanted to play. Dark Souls style thing. Never got around.
Is it from or is it
No.
right? It's just a Dark Souls-esque thing.
Different thing, yeah.
Right.
But the first one, by all accounts, was good. And the second one seemed good. I played a tiny bit of it.
Once again, from a few people I know who went, the Just Dance booth getting a
Yes.
red hot go on people's
Yeah.
Instagrams.
Yes.
Look at this dumb kid having a go at this game.
While professional dancers make him look stupid. behind him. Yeah.
Dreams, that PS4 thing.
Oh, yeah.
that
Been
was
there for a couple of years
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I think that's like technically out as well in a form. It's like a pre.
Oh, right.
The Nintendo booth had like Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon and stuff, which I'd spent zero time in because
Again, they're in a weird place where those things are out like incredibly soon.
within the next month or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's kind of hard to, and also games. Yeah, it's certainly Pokemon a style of game where it's like not really going to showcase itself in a quick 5-minute demo.
And I don't think Animal Crossing was there, but same case even if it was, because
Yeah.
like
Oh, absolutely. I doubt it was there.
Doom was there.
Yes.
That was pre-delay.
Yeah.
So that was with the assumption that it was going to be out in a month, and now that's March of next year, which I think is as far back as they can push it with it still being in this financial year in the US.
Right.
So
Because that was meant to be this month. They hadn't dated it, right?
it was
They
going to be
just said-
November 22nd.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
And now
Damn.
it's like March 20th or something.
Damn.
So, but that, looked like Doom.
Yeah. It looks great.
I can't wait.
But a lot of stuff that's coming out before December. So really not that intriguing of a
No.
place to be.
Did you guys eat there?
No.
Nah.
It was the morning.
Okay.
I don't eat in the morning.
I went at about 2 p.m. and I ate beforehand.
Okay.
Any other fucking questions?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw someone eating. So
Here we go.
Holy shit.
Here we go.
I was talking to one of the enforcers, the people that help.
Enforcers. Lick it boom boom down.
Correct. Yes. About this afterwards, and they said this was not sanctioned. I witnessed an eating competition
Hell yeah.
at one of the tech, it was like a motherboard company or whatever.
There's like AMD and whatever, and
Maybe
Asus has a big thing. And
it might have been theirs.
Wait, so hang on. This wasn't officially sanctioned by the higher ups. At
Apparently-
PAX. this was a rogue eating contest.
Apparently, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. What was he eating? It was like, who can eat the most hard-boiled eggs
Now, if
in a
it was
minute
an
or
eating
something?
contest, surely it was they.
Yes, yeah, there was two
Oh, okay,
people.
right. Because I was going to say, did they make this one person? Because that's just an eating contest where there's only one contestant is like bullying someone, right?
No, there was two. I was thinking of the winner.
Oh, okay, right.
But yeah, I think it was eggs. I think they were making them eat eggs.
Oh,
Would that tie into
eat
anything?
computer chips, surely.
Just chips.
Yeah.
Having a chip eating
nacho
competition.
but they're sharp and you could...
Just a bucket of hot chips, French fries.
Sure.
I don't know,
Maybe.
man. If I'm
Yeah.
at an event like this and I'm watching an eating contest, I don't think I'm too fussed on how it thematically ties into the
Okay.
It's got to be hot dogs. Surely hot dogs are the only eating competition thing, right?
a big burger or whatever, like a
burgers.
huge
But that's like an
burger
eating
with like
challenge.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I like
a-
the idea that because it's not sanctioned, it's like some top brass come past and it's like Prohibition era. They have to like, they push a switch and it's like
Just turns
all
around
the-
to vodka. We're just drinking, everybody.
but that's cool.
That was exciting. Yeah.
I don't not to throw shade at this company, but I don't like how they're called enforcers. That something about that rubs me
Sure.
the wrong way.
They're very, it's the attitude that they have on like the little badges and everything of like, drugs aren't cool. Just be careful and like, just write your rules out.
Yes.
Don't try and be my friend while you're telling me not
Yeah.
to do
Well,
stuff.
it's run by this one is run by an online
The Penny Arcade
comic.
Expo.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't know where to be found. Imagine going there and being like, oh, where's the Penny Arcade, guys?
Yeah, where's the cartooning booth?
Yeah.
Where's the guy doing a caricature of me in the style of my favorite comic, Penny Arcade?
Hi there, thanks for doing the Q&A, guys. I wanted to know, have you ever met Dilbert?
Also,
Why is Calvin pissing all the
I
time?
Yeah.
write my own comic, and maybe you guys could read it now in front of everyone.
Do you think that Garfield is in John's mind? I'll take my question off the air.
Is it cum that he drinks?
Yeah.
Ask that at every Q&A at PAX, just
Yeah.
thinking that they all should be related to comics.
Did you guys go? You didn't go to any of the shows or any like panels or anything
I
like
was
that?
very busy that weekend. I was very lucky I got to go in the morning.
Yeah, I was going to go to like the history of Zelda music, but
Oh, yeah.
apparently it was not so much like, here's some of the music and we'll talk about it. It was more just talking about, I think, how it was used in the games. So like a programming
Oh my God.
That could
development
still
sort
be
of perspective. I walked up there and I was like, nah. And then I went home.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of big crowds and stuff. If
Yeah.
you did go,
Yeah.
hope you have fun.
I was not there because I was in Perth, and I forgot to say this last week. Thank you to all the Perth listeners of this podcast who I met while I was doing shows over the weekend.
Beautiful
Once
filth.
again, lots of listeners over there. So just quick shout out to them.
Nice.
Nothing more to really say on that. Just want people to feel seen. That's all.
I reckon you ran into more of our listeners in Perth than I did at PAX, which seems odd,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
considering I ran into none.
Well, considering I was there doing a podcast event, it's not that strange that I would run into
Yeah.
listeners of a different podcast.
Yeah.
There's like 650,000 people at PAX as well.
Yeah.
It's way too busy.
I feel like we've run into when we've gone in the past and we've all gone together. I feel like we've run into a few listeners around the place.
Yeah. I mean, last year we did a show.
Well, that's true. That helps. That's not really. Yeah, that's pretty funny being up on stage and going like, "Wow, imagine bumping into all our fans like this."
That is how we should open our next live show.
What are you guys all doing here? I can see it from the look in your eyes that you're big fans of what we do.
Not much news or anything this week. Other
No.
than that stuff. A little bit.
Bit of uproar about the Marvel stuff that we touched on already.
Yeah.
So people are by and large not into that as a game style.
I think just flat, just neither way
Okay.
at this point.
Yeah.
It seems like.
And microtransactions and loot stuff.
Yeah.
It's all. I think people are just like, yeah, it's going to happen in most games. We now have to either engage with it or not, and that is
Right.
the way that we are voting on this.
Right.
Because even like EA seems to be pulling back on that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, speaking of wallet voting, in the US, all the sort of Blizzard stuff, Nintendo, the thing, like we talked about this a bit last week. I hadn't read what the LeBron news was. I thought he'd come out in support of Hong Kong too. Opposite.
No, opposite. Yeah,
Yeah,
he called the guy uneducated on the issue.
Crazy. Anyway, like, anyway.
He's got a lot of money tied up in
Yeah,
that.
of course he's towing the company line because it's
Yeah.
like he's the biggest name in that company at this
Yeah.
point. Anyway, Nintendo like did a lot of distancing themselves from it all because Overwatch is coming out soon.
Right.
They were going to have a big launch event at the New York Nintendo store and cancelled that.
Right.
They tweeted out, well, Blizzard cancelled it. Nintendo tweeted like, sorry to
Right.
anyone who's coming, the event has been cancelled by Blizzard.
Right.
Da 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 da. They're offering refunds for Overwatch and all this sort of stuff. Like they're so, and heaps of other companies, I can't remember all of who, came and like put sort of foot forward statements on their position with this kind of thing.
Right.
Whether
Well-
or not they would ban someone for
Taking
well-
a political statement
Yeah.
stance.
Oh, that guy. Right.
Yeah.
I was wondering what the link is between them just holding an event at the Nintendo store.
So
in
yeah,
New
it
York.
was cancelled because people are mad at Blizzard because of that thing. So if you didn't listen last week or went across,
Right,
Blizzard were
okay.
the ones who took they banned the guy for 6 months.
because he
and-
said a pro Hong Kong thing at
Yeah.
a event that they were
Right.
streaming.
Yeah.
Right, and so they pulled out of the event because they thought we're going to get too much blowback and
Yes.
there'll be like
Which they are
protests.
getting.
Yeah, right.
So
right,
their
Yeah.
BlizzCon thing is meant to be happening on the 2nd of November.
right.
Which is where it seems by all accounts they'll be announcing Diablo 4. Because remember last year they did that Diablo
mobile game.
and everyone was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? Because like the tickets they sell to that thing are like $200 or something to watch it on a stream.
Yeah.
Shit like that. So
Which there was more uproar about that than there was about the China Hong Kong stuff.
I don't know.
I guess there's a lot of both.
Yeah, people are pretty fucking mad about this.
I reckon it's different people. I'm gonna say.
Possibly. But like at the same time, it's like there's genuine like, well, we're fucking done with you as a company stuff.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
it's getting more and more to the point where companies across everywhere, not just video games, but entertainment is one of the first things because it's a big lucrative market that entertainment, for whatever reason, people have more of a moral kind of, I feel, they put more of a moral expectation on entertainment companies
Yeah.
because what they're putting out has a point of view.
Right.
Because it's works
Right.
of art.
It's communication. It's
Right.
yeah.
So when a film is censored or a game is changed or something like that, it does seem more egregious than just a company that makes fucking vases working with China. You know what I mean?
yes.
Yeah.
So I guess
right,
that's
right.
why they're at this front line of people going like, is it okay to be how we are with this fucking government right now? So I don't know, it's all weird. And yeah, a bunch of companies came through. I can't remember. I don't have a list, but a lot of them were saying people can say what they want. And like there were a few that were like, I think Riot Games, who are the League of Legends people, who
Right.
have had a whole bunch of shit about them with their work culture and like whether or not there's like a sexism problem there and stuff like that, said something that I'm not going to try and half remember
Yes.
that was very much looked down upon by most people. I'm going to look it up just in case.
In terms of being
Hong-
pro China.
Or being pro, hey, if we want to tell people not to say stuff on our platforms, we're allowed to.
Okay, right.
Being pro censorship.
I guess so. Let me look it up. Well, and you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Just quickly, Adam. So BlizzCon is November the 2nd.
Yeah.
When we were out the front of your house, I was talking about my art exhibition that's coming up, and you said, "Oh, that starts on November 2nd, doesn't it?" Did you think my art exhibition was BlizzCon?
I thought that you were drawing
You thought there were going to be
Diablo.
nude Overwatch characters.
He's thinking about people picketing an event. He's like, well, it's probably Tommy's exhibition.
Offensive content,
Yes.
Okay, so I've
the
got
right to
something.
censorship.
There was news that Riot was telling its casters for an event that was happening in Taiwan
Yes.
not to say the words Hong Kong.
Right. Okay.
But they have said that that isn't true. So
Okay.
it seems as though that is not true.
Okay.
We want to correct some confusion that we are seeing regarding our coverage of Hong Kong Attitude, which is a team from Taiwan.
Oh,
Who
okay.
play it, I believe.
Very glad you clarified that.
Yeah.
As you can see from our official Twitter account, we refer to their team interchangeably by both their full name and their tricode abbreviation HKA. Okay, so they thought people were calling them HKA to avoid saying Hong Kong,
Right.
as we routinely do with all the teams in our
Okay, right.
ecosystem. Anyway, it seemed there's a lot of people
The members
who
of
are on
Hong
edge.
Kong Attitude have all been assassinated by secret Chinese military,
Oh, no.
just by coincidence.
There was like a US senator who wrote a handwritten thing to the CEO of Activision Blizzard being like, hey, you run an American company, fuckhead. You can't do this. Like, yeah.
What a mess. So do you think the BlizzCon will go ahead?
Yeah,
Do you-
it has to.
It has to?
It's too late in.
It's too big of
now.
a thing? Yeah, right.
I would imagine they address it all.
Yeah.
They fucking kind of have to.
Yeah.
I don't imagine that it will be to a satisfactory degree. I think
No,
they'll
it
announce
never
Diablo
is.
4, and in 2 months, people won't remember this anymore.
Right.
About 2 months ago, it was revealed that a pedophile ring controls the world, and they assassinated one of them had been caught. When was the last time you heard someone talk about that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This
I
will
do
go
go.
away.
I do go pretty deep on media that is obsessed with that, so I feel like I'm keeping up to date on all matters
Sure.
related to that. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
In the ongoing NBA side of things, Shaq came out in support of the guy who originally tweeted the pro Hong Kong thing. So Shaq is more moral,
Good.
more of moral worth than LeBron,
That I would have assumed anyway.
Yeah.
and he's won more titles, I think, as well. So yeah.
Is that LeBron Space Jam still coming out?
Yeah.
Is it really? I feel like they've been talking about that for like 10 years.
I think they were filming in the off season, and the season just started, so maybe it'll come out like towards playoffs or something.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Sure.
I also feel like that era of films where humans and cartoons collide.
Yes.
When it was like sort of technically more impressive that was they were able to kind of pull that off and make
Right.
it look convincing. And now it's like, yeah, so it fucking should look good.
You can do that on YouTube.
Yeah, you can make that happen on an iPad.
Why don't
Yeah.
you CGI LeBron out of this? Come on and respect the government. Welcome to the beautiful government.
Yeah, well, it sounds like PAX was a great time.
yeah,
boys.
it was. Yeah.
Cool.
I got a little bit of a workout walking around it. Speaking of workouts,
Uh-oh.
Tommy's been playing Little Town Hero.
I'm happy to talk about that first. Whatever way.
What do you want to talk about, Ben?
I don't want to talk about Little Town Hero at all.
Really?
Oh, really?
I hate it. I've played it again
Really?
today. I think it's bad. I wish that I hadn't bought it digitally so I could get a refund.
Oh, man.
I think it sucks. Well, I think it's not for me.
Hey,
Okay.
what are your issues?
Uh,
In alphabetical order.
Oh, wow.
art style.
Okay.
Don't like the art style at all.
Second, I hate the aardvarks. Fuck.
No, I don't like the art. I don't like the dialogue writing. I don't like how it feels to play. The gameplay itself, I don't like.
Right. What are you doing?
It's just like a very general RPG kid trying to get into a castle, become a big soldier, and
Right. You're running around, getting into battles.
talking to people. I'm not really at this point. I just gave up very quickly,
Right.
Yeah, the big point of difference is the combat in it.
which I do like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the combat is great. I like the art style. A lot of other things about it. Yeah, the writing is very baseline. It's so slow to get going. Like it's
This was made by the Pokemon people.
Yeah,
right?
game freak.
Okay. This all makes
yeah.
sense.
It's frustrating because I think the combat is really great.
Yes.
Trapped in not the best package for it. Like, you know, if there had been a word, and what's annoying about, you know, gaming in the world in general now is like this game has been getting review bombed on Metacritic because people, you know, diehard Pokemon fans think that the fact that Game Freak worked on this has been to the detriment of like
right.
people think
that's
that like
why the rest of the Pokemon aren't in there.
100%.
Or
That's what
right.
people think,
God.
which is just a very immature way of looking at things and then responding to things. But
I mean, that's the same thing of going like George R. R. Martin better fucking release those books before he dies.
Yeah.
Well, you're not entitled to their time.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can't, like.
But at the same time, you know, who knows what the game will be like, but we've all been pretty underwhelmed by what we've seen of Pokemon so far. It looks like more of the same. And certainly from a business point of view, I can kind of understand that decision. But like imagining this combat, which is like very inventive and unique, you know, in a larger game like a Pokemon, you know, where it had kind of revitalized the series or whatever. It's kind of interesting to think about.
What is the combat?
It's not well. I think its integration in a game like this is relatively unique, but it's very like card.
It's like a card game,
combat.
yeah.
Okay.
It's like points for attack, points for defense, choosing when to play them, breaking down your opponent's cards. Once they're all broken, you win.
Right.
You got hearts, so it's like a few rounds basically. I'm assuming you collect the cards or develop the moves over
you
time?
kind of your kind of skill tree thing kind of changes
Right.
the stats of them, and you have like a set number of like kind of each little card thing is worth a different number of points. You have a number of points that add up to like how many cards you can play in a
Right.
turn.
So you got 20 points. A card might cost 6 and it's powerful. A card might cost 1 and it's not that
That
powerful.
sort of
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
maybe you got like a card that does a strange status effect or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I flipped the table halfway through because I'm like, well, you know what? I win now.
Yeah, cards are all on the ground.
Yeah, so you pick them up. Who's the winner now?
52 pickup. Great game.
And there's a few
is
things
a
like that. There's a few things in there like if you break all of your opponent's cards, you then get the chance to knock a heart off them. But you need to have an attack card kind of like in play that you haven't, all these things like kind of using your power to sort of like put this card into play, but not necessarily using it then to hang on for down the line. It all does become quite intricate, and I am really liking that bit of it. But I have heard that once it gets going a bit more, it's a bit more enjoyable, but it just has this absolute glacial pace.
Yeah.
So is it just like the old man, elder of the village, coming up and giving you 40 uninteresting things that he says?
More
then you
like-
walk to wherever, or
It's kind of less than that. It's just like you have a friend and you like walk to one guy and he's like, "Hello, I'm the guy who's train you," and then you do a bit of training and then it's like, "Remember yesterday when you walk up to me and had another conversation that was essentially the same thing?"
Right.
And then they flag. It's like
Yeah.
it's just very poorly done.
It's just super RPG tropey, which having played a few kind of JRPGs in a row now, it's like I'm generally fine to just kind of let myself go with the writing and just be like, oh, well, whatever, and kind of let it wash over me. But once you've had a few too many in a row, it's like, my God, this is so jarring.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I like the setup of it all being set in this one town. I think that's kind of cool. Oh, you also there's like another element to the combat where you're kind of like moving around this board. Like you're moving to different spaces in the town after each turn. And on different spaces, there's like different townsfolk and different little gimmicks that kind of can help you for that turn that'll
Right.
give you stat boosts or do an extra special move or what have you. So there's kind of an extra element in there. It's good. I really like the combat, but yeah, the whole I like the art style. Like it's right up my alley. Probably not surprising to anyone who's listened to 10 minutes of this podcast before or seen a picture of the game. But just the rate at which it is chugging along. Like I'm enjoying it, and I keep finding it like most of this week I've sat down and gone, I'll play a bit more now, and then just kind of thought of like, I guess I'm gonna have to sit through a bunch of fucking tedious convo.
Yeah.
I do want to persevere with it because getting into the rhythm of the combat and kind of like working that out, I found very satisfying.
Right.
It's just it's more. It just feels like, I don't know. Maybe they'll do a sequel and kind of have nutted and sped up those processes, or like this in a different package would be a little more appealing. It needed a bit more refinement to it or whatever it is, but yeah,
Because it was quite cheap. Relatively
it is
speaking.
relatively cheap. Yeah,
it's like $30-$40 or something.
Yeah, something like
I
that.
think it's 40 maybe. Yeah.
And it feels like it should be $8 and on an iPad. Like that.
Right.
That is the aesthetic, and like I think the aesthetic has a lot to to say for the enjoyment of a game like this, because outside of the combat, an RPG is just aesthetic. So
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
know. It's not for me, I guess.
Yeah. It's very simplistic. I don't think it's kind of, it feels like it's trying to be very like pleasing and calming and very bright palettes and everything. No, that's not to say that automatically means it's to all taste, but it's definitely not going for it. Like I think, iPad style of art direction is like a very fair assessment. Like it's very, and totally. Like if something has the look of something that's should be significantly cheaper.
Yeah.
That's always going to be pretty jarring. But it's, I've kind of gotten fascinated by it, like reading a lot of different reviews, and it's like people skew pretty wildly on it. Some people are like, oh, it's such a breath of fresh air in the JRPG genre. It's great. A lot of people like way more hung up on these flaws that we've talked about. So I definitely think like, wait for a price drop and, have a crack if you like kind of different, interesting combat in your JRPGs and you've looked at screenshots and the art style doesn't turn you off. Like maybe you'll really enjoy it. Because because I do want to keep going with it. I probably am going to play a bit more of it tonight because getting in a little run of the combat, like I said, like it took me a couple of battles to kind of work out exactly how it worked with playing the cards and everything. And once I worked that out, I was like all of a sudden enjoying it a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I wish there was a demo of it because I'm still playing the demo of Dragon Quest XI.
Oh yeah, right.
And I switched immediately from Little Town Hero to that, and I'm still enjoying that. Like, I'm not loving it. I know that you love it, Tommy. Really, really connected with it strongly. I like it. It's very tropey in a way that I'm probably more into, but still I'm like, I've seen this a million times.
Right.
But
it is a really good comparison because I do feel like I was saying, like the tropey stuff in Little Town Hero sticks out and it is like, oh my God, this is so naff. Whereas, Dragon Quest XI has a lot of those same tropes, but for whatever reason, it's just easier to find it charming.
Yeah.
I don't quite know why that is.
I think the writing is like a level above Little
that's
Town
fair.
Hero. I think the aesthetic is to my taste. Flat out is, as opposed to it.
The writing in Little Town Hero is, and again, it's not like this is the most important part of the game, but it does start to stick out. Everyone's dialogue is literally like it's like you're writing a scene with someone and you're plotting out the scene, and it's like, so then you'd say, come over here, and then he'd go, I don't want to, and then when you actually come to writing dialogue, you're like, we've got to think of more interesting ways to just say those.
Right.
It's literally like, what are you going to do today? I'm going to go into town. Okay, go into town then. It's just like the most like no source in any of the dialogue whatsoever.
Yeah,
and weirdly translated, there's like spelling and grammar mistakes in the text from time to time.
I think because your character is a child, everyone talks to you as if you are a child, which I found extremely grating and difficult to get into.
That's giving it too much credit. I think that's just the quality of the writing makes it seem
Possibly,
that way.
yeah, sure.
That, like, assuming that someone went, what if everyone talks to you like a little kid, I think is like 100% more thought than what has gone into any of the dialogue choices.
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe, but yeah.
If you've played it, let us know what you think of it.
Yeah.
I can't in good conscience recommend it. But like Tommy said, if there's a price drop or if there is a demo available at some point,
maybe
give it a crack.
Yeah, maybe you're fascinated enough to give it a crack because it's doing something interesting. That's the a demo would be perfect or a price drop because I do think it is worth having a crack at because it's the combat is it's really interesting.
Yeah, you there is a chance that you will love the combat because it is very unique.
And if you do love it, don't just sit on your ass all day and play it. You need to move around. You need to be a bit active.
Is there anything else I could segue away from this to? No, I'm out.
Thwarted once before.
You win this time, Mr. Segwayer. Ring Fit Adventure.
The other Switch game, not much else out this week.
No.
There's a game called Disco Elysium that I want to play.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a RPG that's meant to be quite funny.
Okay.
But I haven't touched it. I haven't had time for anything this week other than a little bit of Ring Fit Adventure.
Yeah, so this came out on Friday. I knew I wasn't going to have any time to play it over the weekend. So I thought, I'll go in on Monday, get it in the city.
Yeah.
I go in and blow me down. Sold out.
I had the exact same experience.
And then you start getting online.
Yeah.
And you're like, no JB Hi-Fis in the city have it.
Yep.
No Targets in the city have it.
Yeah.
I was on the bloody Big W website trying to see if they have kind of inventory on their webpage.
EB Games was sold out in most stores except one, which it turned out. So I got it. I went to EB Games. I did a click and collect.
Oh, yeah.
I went in.
Got to go in. $475 later, you've got this game that's $120 at JB.
Yep.
I mean, it's expensive to make a firm stick.
I went to the Docklands EB Games. That is a strange place.
Brutal.
Where's the one in Docklands, right. So in that shopping centre thing there near the wheel?
Yes.
I went to a mini golf there not that long ago. There's a mini golf place.
I wouldn't be
Did we talk
surprised
about it on the pod?
I think so.
Yeah, we did.
Because
yes.
there was the thing of Rolf Harris.
Yes.
We didn't
Yeah.
talk about that.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh,
We talked about you hating mini golf. We didn't talk about Rolf Harris.
Which mini golf? Which chain is it? Was
it
it
was
a chain?
called like Neon Golf. I don't
Oh,
think it's a
maybe we
chain.
didn't talk about. No, it
Yeah.
was you that went to.
I went to Holy Moly,
for a work
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
I might have talked about it somewhere else because I
went to Holy
there.
Moly and Rolf Harris was there.
Oh,
I don't like Holy Moly. I don't hate mini golf.
Okay.
I don't like Holy Moly.
okay.
That's
That's what
right.
we talked about.
Neon
yeah.
Golf wasn't great, but it was
Sounds like you
fine.
hate mini golf.
And there was one. Well,
It's
no,
really doing the rounds.
Yeah.
Get a load of Happy Gilmore over here.
it's weird for it not to be outdoors. Anyway, the
I went to a great one in, I think, Lakes Entrance, an outdoors one. It was
Yeah.
really nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
that sort
A
of thing. is
good,
my shit.
shitty, just old
Yes.
school one is great.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
so this one was that sort of thing, but it was all indoors and kind of like UV paint. So it was all
Oh,
dark and
sure.
bright, neon golf.
Like a laser
Kind
tag.
of, yeah.
center.
Well, the first sort of section was, and then there was a section that was like Australiana.
okay.
And so
Yuck.
there was like a man shitting in a dunny, and you had to hit the ball in between his legs
Oh,
and
I
stuff
hate
like that.
that.
Yeah, but there
I
was
thought that was a
wall-
joke. That's real?
That's real.
Fuck it.
There's a wall. Did I say that on this podcast or a different podcast? I've said this somewhere 100%.
I've not heard this before.
There
Just
was-
quickly, I also love that our review of Ring Fitted Adventure has pivoted into talk about mini golf, the most unathletic sport that exists.
Well,
Ah,
because
yes.
there was a wall with paintings of like Australian heroes,
Uh-huh.
clearly painted about 15 years ago, or even more, because it was
I
like
guess.
Neighbours era Kylie.
Yep.
It was like, but Docklands hasn't been there for that long, so it
No,
can't have been
no,
that old.
no.
the
That
Kylie one
shopping
you could
center
kind
as well.
of give a pass and be
Sure.
like, that's like throwback,
Yeah.
like kitsch.
Yeah.
You know.
Warney was
Okay.
Shane Warne was on there.
Still
it was
relevant.
like
Yeah.
Paul Hogan, stuff like that. And then there was one character
Here we go.
with his face all scratched out. His face was all rubbed out, and someone had written the word evil and pointed at him. And
No.
underneath, still visible, he was holding a wobble board.
no way.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
old Rolf. So they just scratched out his face. They didn't even paint over him.
But
It was
this
just
is-
like on grass, just paint over
Yeah.
him green.
We need to go back and work out a timeline here. So yeah, how long would this? When did Rolf get arrested?
It was like 3 years ago or something.
really. I
4
thought it
years
was longer
ago.
than that.
Okay. It was definitely less than 7.
I was going to say 7.
Yeah.
I reckon it's 7.
It was it was less than. How long have I been doing comedy? It was less than that.
Do you think that this place has like that's their cover up job,
I
or
think
do you think
they-
that that's an incensed like that's graffiti?
No, they scrubbed the face out, and then
Really?
someone else wrote.
Someone
evil.
else has written
I
evil.
Right,
reckon.
okay.
Yeah.
That is just what there's so many things you could do with that.
Yeah.
Paint over it, or just like change his face. It's a painting.
Yeah,
change it to someone else.
exactly.
He's still got a human body.
Yeah.
Like change it to I don't know, like a religious figure or something.
Just turn the wobble board
Hell.
into them holding a photo of something.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
edit the face.
Mr.
Yeah.
Squiggle. Draw a big nose on him that's a pencil, and he's holding an upside down picture.
Yeah.
Well, even if you just want to look at, what was the distinguishing facial features of Rolf Harris?
The
Bit of a
beard
beard,
thing.
like kind of goatee and
yeah.
glasses. You could get a,
Turn
you
that
could,
into Colonel Sanders.
yeah,
Yeah,
You
that's
turn that
true,
into
yeah.
Colonel Sanders.
yeah, and he's holding a picture of a drumstick instead of the wobble
Yeah, I
board.
guess Colonel Sanders looks the same. Hey, he's
Yeah.
got like the white hair, the goatee, kid's dick.
Oh, it's a 3-piece feed. It's a 3-year-old. Okay.
Ring Fit Adventure.
Ring Fit Adventure. So Ben, you trek down to the Docklands.
It's a fucking maze, that place.
Wait, let's very quickly give context for our international
Oh,
listeners.
it's like they
Okay.
tried
Important
to.
part of the review.
It's where the docks are.
Yeah.
And they tried to build it into like an inner city suburb, and they put up a whole bunch of apartment buildings and stuff. And
Like
shops.
I'm assuming they essentially moved away all of the sort of shipping, freight businesses. All of that moved to a different part of Melbourne, a part of the bay. Like concreted over everything that was there and put up a bunch of shitty apartment blocks, a giant Ferris wheel.
Some of them seem nice, but just no one wants to live there.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, if they're all bland apartments and apartment
Yeah.
blocks, but they're all empty, it just seems weird.
It's kind of
and
creepy.
the area's empty. So they
Yeah.
really thought this will be the new precinct. People will live here. People will come here to shop and eat and drink and whatever. And it has just
It's not far from the city at all.
It's
I
not
can
far from the city, but
I can
it feels
see it
a
from
million
my
miles
house.
away.
Yeah.
It feels so far away.
I
and
can
it's
literally walk there. It's a 20-minute walk from my house, and there's a cinema there, so it's pretty handy.
a bunch of trams go there.
Yeah,
like-
there's a bunch of shops there, but there's also a bunch of empty shop fronts. A
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Like entire wings. If you're thinking of a mall, I was walking down the entire wings of a mall that were empty shop fronts. Like,
Yeah, right.
maybe opening soon. Maybe we just closed down.
It's
really
creepy.
weird place.
Yeah.
The great failed
Costco?
experiment of Melbourne. Costco's down
Costco
there,
is
yeah.
there.
That's the best. thing
Costco
to say.
really put it on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
and
a
then we
Costco
have
and a Hoyts,
our we have a Melbourne Eye with a big Ferris wheel
Yeah.
that like melted almost immediately after they set it up.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It takes like 45 minutes to go around.
But it looks nice. I get the best
I'm gonna get it one
aspect
day.
of it. Yeah.
I reckon. I'm gonna buy that Ferris wheel.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so the scene is set. So now, listeners, you've got that. Now picture a young Ben Vanel strolling down the street.
Yeah, honestly, looking around, bewildered. But eventually, I get there. I walk in. I have a chat to the woman working there. She's like, "This actually was like someone else's thing. They reserved a bunch of shit, including this, the Ring Fit thing.
Yeah.
And then eventually, they called me and said I actually bought it somewhere else. So this was part of the original, the original batch of Ring Fit Adventures that every other one had sold out.
Right.
She put it back online, and I assume I just got it immediately because she had like 30 people coming in a day going, can we buy the Ring Fit? Where's the Ring Fit?
Wow.
And apparently they got like 1,000 of them in a warehouse somewhere, but they're only letting them out 4 at a time.
Ah.
So that Nintendo artificial restricted supply
deliberate.
thing, it's deliberate, yeah. So that I thought was really interesting. All of that stuff that people say about the SNES Classic Mini, all of the peripherals and the weird games and stuff, they are all artificially limited by Nintendo.
Well, are they? I mean, I guess you could say that it's likely that they all are, but we don't know that they all are. I guess.
Yeah, maybe not. But I think this was
for
coming
this, for whatever reason.
This was coming from because they knew. Obviously, they knew
that
this-
could also be EB's decision. I
No,
guess,
apparently this is coming from Nintendo.
Right.
Well, also what I
Yeah.
would say is if every store in the city only got 4, and I was looking on, we both were looking
Yeah.
on these websites of these big chains that were all of them around the CBD, and I was putting my postcode in, and it was showing me places like so far away. So even if that's a lot of stores, even if that is only 4 at a time, that is a lot for something that they haven't been pushing too hard. It's not like
Sure.
a big game for them. Like it sits in that weird kind of like labo sphere where I think they
think
kind of
we-
feel like, people will just kind of find out about this if they want it.
We fit it very well.
Yeah.
Yes,
And this is kind of the spiritual kind of successor to that.
and the
Yeah.
Switch has done well as well. It's not like they're selling it to a small base.
yeah.
But I got one.
Yeah. I got one last night too. I got it, a great tip off from Adam Knox, the delivery power of Amazon Prime and how quickly they can get a package into your hot little hands.
I
Oh, yeah.
crossed that picket line. But yeah, I haven't had much time to play it. I've played maybe 15 minutes of it before you came here today.
Yeah, I
Right.
think that's how much time I've had to play as well.
Yeah, I got it less than 24 hours ago, so I'm bad in the same.
So we can't really review, I guess, the game as much. Like you,
Right.
it's simple kind of. It's not simple. It's a lot more complex than I thought it would be. I've
Yeah.
done some of the mini games, and just the actual functions you can use this thing for are more varied than I thought they'd be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's give broad strokes and then we can maybe check in with it next week.
Sure.
If we've had
Yeah.
the time to kind of get into a little regular kind of exercise routine with
Yeah.
it.
Which is, I think, what all of us want to do with it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my
So
intention.
the setup and everything, the presentation, very charming, very nice UI and everything like that. Asks you a bunch of stuff like your age and your weight, and then how intense you want it to be.
Well, and before that, it tells you how to put this stuff on, and
Yes.
like you first thing you do is obviously touch all the physical things, which you've got a leg wrap
Yep.
that you put the left Joy-Con into, and that goes on your left thigh, and that tracks how your leg's moving. And then you've got the right Joy-Con.
It also provides a bit of feedback as well.
right, it gives you like a little buzz,
Yeah.
or whatever when it needs you to do something, or like and it knows what like angle it's pointed at and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like just even at the main menu, you can just run on the spot, and it'll
Yeah.
tell you what speed you're doing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
And
Yeah.
then you've got the Ring Con itself, which the right Joy-Con slots into, and you can squeeze it, you can pull it, and you can twist it on all its axes,
Yeah.
and it'll
Yeah.
respond to those inputs. So it's used for like, there's a mini game where you basically play whack-a-mole, but on like a round. So there's an inner circle and an outer circle,
Ah,
and you
cool.
twist it to move your double pistoned kind of whacker.
Oh, sure.
One on either side, and you push in to whack the ones on the inside, you pull out to whack the ones on the outside.
Oh, that's sick.
Stuff like that, and the resistance feels really nice. It feels really
Yes.
well built.
Yep.
It feels very, very sturdy because you're
Yeah.
really squeezing this like one of those resistance training things.
Yeah.
And it feels really, really strong and really well put together.
Well, at the start, it kind of measures your strength,
Hmm.
and it gets you to really go for it with it. It's
Yeah.
like push this as hard as you can.
Yeah.
And it's got a little thing kind of counting up on the screen, like showing you how hard you're pushing it,
Hmm.
and you really do feel like, oh right, I guess I've got to. Which is like, yeah, good to know that you don't have to worry. Like it shows you early on. It's like this thing's like super durable.
You
Yeah.
can shove this thing, and it's got nice little sort of soft pads for your hands.
Yeah, it feels great.
It feels really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that you've done the mini games and stuff, because all I've done, I just went straight in on the adventure mode, or whatever it's called.
There's like the adventure, there's mini games, there's like some just exercises
And
you
then
can
there's
do.
just like a workout routine thing,
Yeah.
like a program. Right. Yeah. Oh, and so a lot of what you do in the adventure mode, at least, is jogging on the spot. But it also gives you an option if you live in an environment where you can't make that much noise or whatever it is, you
Like an
can sub them out for
apartment, I guess.
squats.
Right.
You can just do quicker squats or whatever.
Cool.
But yeah, I felt confident enough in my being able to jog on the spot
Yes.
ability and it not be too loud.
Yeah, me too. I'm ground floor apartment,
Yeah.
tiled floor. I'm jogging.
I've
jogging
got
away.
downstairs neighbours,
I would probably not jog in here.
not at night time,
Yeah, well, yes.
I guess.
Yeah.
I
Not at
could wear
nighttime.
some socks.
But if you're in socks and you're just like controlling, like you're trying to be as light on your feet as you can, I don't think
Yeah.
you'll make that much noise. You won't
We'll
make that
see.
much clomping around.
I hear clumping upstairs.
Yeah, and they're not doing an exercise
I think
routine.
they're just walking
Yeah, but if
from
you're
left
staying
to
on your
right.
toes and you're focusing on landing softly,
That's
you can
meant to
really
be a better
minimise that.
workout as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, to focus on that stuff. We'll see. But is it easy to switch between the two? Can you just do it at any time?
Oh, I don't know.
I actually don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'll need to look into because I'd like to do both.
Maybe
Yeah.
level to level, I don't know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I've played the first 2 levels of the adventure mode. I think you've done 3, Ben, you were saying?
Yeah. The first, it's like there's worlds, like a platformer, and the first one has 3. It's an intro one, a middle one where they introduce a few more. That's where you have the mini battle things.
The second level introduces actual battles.
Yeah.
And also, upon reflection, it's pretty unfair of us to be talking about how tropey the story of Little Town Hero is, because this is,
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? But it is very like,
It's honestly more than I expected in some
Same.
ways. It's better executed. It is extremely simple, but
graphically
Yeah.
it looks better than I thought.
yes.
Like
Yes.
you begin your character, you like make a little avatar, and then your character is like in a forest, and just the amount of kind of detail in the environment around you is like, the trees are moving and different coloured grass, and it stretches back pretty far. It's like a fair bit more going on than I expected out of it.
Yeah, you half expect it to be like the background of a karaoke thing of
Yeah.
like swirling rainbow dust and shit, but it's
Right.
like no, it's good. It's yeah, I think it looks really nice.
So the
It
standard,
definitely describes itself as well as a long-term fitness plan in the setting of a fantasy adventure or something.
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It is like
Hey.
this is a fitness thing first.
That's accurate. That's
Yeah.
100% accurate.
yeah.
right.
So in the 2 levels that I've played, the kind of format is you are jogging on the spot to make the character move along the screen. You're holding
Just in
the-
a straight line, or
Just
are
in a
you-
straight
you
line.
don't- yeah.
Right.
You don't
the
control
direction.
movement, except for you've got the ring in front of you, and if you tilt it in any direction and then squeeze it, you can like fire a beam, so you
Right.
can like break crates and stuff like that,
Panzer
open doors.
Dragoon.
Yeah. If you tilt it downwards and then squeeze, you'll jump. You'll fire a blast of air into the ground and jump. So the second level I was in had more bits where you were
Yeah.
having to like and kind of time it properly, because there's kind of a line of coins that you won't get all of them if you
Right.
if you do too early or whatever. And then you get into the it does a little thing at the end of the level where it gets you to like kind of strike a victory pose,
Yes.
where you like squat and then like put the ring up into the air. Then in the second level you get into the battles.
Yeah, little fitness battles.
Yeah.
So you run into an enemy and it got like a and the fitness battles are basically different exercises. So to reduce this enemy's health and beat them, you have to do initially, I think the first one is squats.
Well, you choose.
Right.
You basically you have a list of exercises, and it tells you like what the attack.
I think you unlock them though. I think initially
You unlock more as you go on,
It's
yeah.
squats. There's overhead presses. I think maybe the first.
And are
Yeah,
they for
the
like
first couple?
different types of enemy? Like, are there like this will poison an enemy?
No.
I believe as you go on, you
Oh,
do
really?
have to like pick. You do certain attacks are gonna affect certain enemies differently.
That's interesting because initially it's not. It's just like you just do these ones. After you've done, say, like 20 reps of squats, you have to choose the next one.
Right.
And you can't do squats again. So you go from that to the overhead presses where you got to squeeze the thing in. And then you can go back to the squats. And each little rep takes some health off the enemy.
Okay.
And the battles with enemies, they last a while. Like
Yes.
you do. Well, certainly in the setting I have it on and everything, you do a fair bit before you do any kind of before you finish. Like I had to do, I think 2 or 3, like different exercises with each enemy before it was dead. Oh, and then when it's their turn to attack, you do an ab guard where you kind of you turn the ring around and you kind of push it into your chest against your abs, and you kind of like squeezing it back into your abs, tightening your abs to kind of hold the ring in place, and then squeezing against it as hard as you can.
Okay.
And the harder you're doing that, the more damage you will absorb from the enemy.
Well, let's check in next week, hey, with what we actually think of the game when we've had a bit more opportunity to play it ourselves.
Obviously, the boss battle is just, it's all battle. So
Yeah.
there's more, it introduces a lot more different exercises, which I think is really good, having the relief of like, I don't have to do squats, because I'm finding squats really hard to do.
Squats are brutal, yeah.
And you have to do them a bunch in that second level, but like there's yoga poses get introduced.
Yeah.
So like sort of like lying down and sort of bringing your legs up to tense your stomach muscles.
Right.
That gets introduced really quickly.
It's interesting how much it can track with just these 2 bits of equipment.
Yeah.
That's the big thing you notice in stuff like this now too, is like how much the idea of like motion control has cut, where it knows how you're moving. Like when you're doing these attack things, it is, because for the squats, it'll get you to go into the squat pose and then hold it for as long as you can and then release. And so you timing that perfectly is what dictates the damage.
Right.
And then towards the back end of that attack cycle, it gets you to kind of speed it up.
Yeah.
It's very good at technique. It's very good at like making sure that you're doing things correctly. Like I have noticed a couple times, I think I was like not paying. I was like looking at my phone or whatever, and it was like, no, you got to make sure you're keeping your back straight.
Yeah,
like
Because
it's,
you're holding the thing so it knows if
Yes.
your
Yeah.
arms are straight, so it knows if your back is straight.
yeah, which is such an important part of any kind of exercise. Like it is so easy to go into a gym and just fuck around and really
Right.
do yourself a lot of damage. So it's cool that they've really put the effort into like making sure that it's telling you to get your technique correct and everything.
It really
like that.
emphasizes the posture at the start.
Yeah.
It's basically like you won't be exercising properly if you don't have a straight back. So really keep that in mind.
And even just like this is beyond any kind of exercise stuff. I just found it really cool, like the interactivity of like you do feel really immersed because you're on the ground doing these, like I was doing the I don't know what you call it. You kind of like you're sitting on the ground and you're like
leg
bringing
lifts
your
almost.
legs into your chest and like having to keep your legs elevated. And just seeing that reflected on the screen and the thing that I'm doing in the real world having a direct impact on this enemy on the screen feels really cool.
Yeah.
Feels
I think
very
it's-
immersive
It's
and
very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that as it goes on, there is more RPG-ish elements in terms of like crafting like potions, which are like smoothies in this and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that next week, I guess.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
got a bit more actual experience with it.
Yeah.
Half an hour a day kind of thing. Is that your plan? Like actually do an exercise routine with this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I go to the gym every day usually, and it's nice to have a little thing that's at home that if for whatever reason I get held up and I can't go, I can kind of be like, oh, you know what? It's fine. I don't have to stress about not going and feeling bad. I can just like chuck this on for that same amount of time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And it did like the half an hour I played it for last night, I was like pretty wiped. It's a good workout.
Yeah, I try and walk for about an hour a day in total, and having this on the top of that, which is more muscular stuff, so like core muscle building and a little bit more endurance stuff. I think I'm going to do maybe like 15 minutes a day, I guess. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to do it every day.
Yeah. Worth checking out.
Yeah.
I guess that's maybe the main thing people want to know is it a good exercise and is it a fun package? And so far, I think we can say yeah.
It's definitely good equipment.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's just about us done for another week on Filthy Casuals. Thanks for joining us, guys. We've recorded the premium episode about the history of rareware.
yes.
That'll be
Bandcamp.
up soon. Bandcamp
Yes.
episode.
filthycasualspod.bandcamp.com.
We had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, that was
It's-
a ripper.
Not up until next week on Bandcamp. If you're on the Patreon thing, then it'll be on the right Patreon thing. It'll be up
Yes.
Friday,
Cool.
I reckon. Yeah.
Be soon, but it's done. It's in the can, so to speak.
It is.
So check that out.
Which
Head
is
over.
tomorrow when you're listening to this. Tomorrow. It should be up tomorrow, maybe Saturday. We'll
Right.
see.
Right.
You can support us on Patreon if you like the show and you'd
Oh,
like
yeah.
to chip in. You get a bonus episode every week where we talk about different things of pop culture, or at least we aim to, and sometimes we get sidetracked and just talk about other dumb stuff.
Yep.
Filthycasuals.com.au is where you can find the links to all that stuff. Guys, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. And as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals,
Thank you for listening here in our town. What are you going to do today? Are you going to listen again? Thank you for listening again. See you later from our town. I'm doing their little town hero thing.
Free Hong Kong.
God, that'd be nice.